through: being watched. Humans become uncomfortable when they feel observed because observation changes behavior. In tribal environments, constant observation meant constant social evaluation. Your survival depended on reputation, trust, and group approval. That's why cameras, crowds, or even eye contact can create stress responses. Your brain constantly monitors how others perceive you because social standing once determined survival. Even now, many people build their entire identity around avoiding judgment, not because they want approval, because their nervous system fears exclusion, losing control. People fear losing control more than pain itself. Panic attacks feel terrifying, partly because they create the sensation that your own mind is becoming unpredictable. Illnesses that affect memory or awareness often frighten people more than physical injury because consciousness is the center of human identity. The brain depends on stability. Once that stability cracks, fear intensifies rapidly. This is also why humans struggle with uncertainty, chaos, and change. Predictability creates psychological safety. Control creates the illusion that life is manageable. Claustrophobia. Fear of tight spaces comes from the brain detecting trapped conditions. Being unable to escape danger historically meant death. Caves collapsing, getting trapped underwater, or being cornered by predators activated survival panic instantly. That's why elevators, tunnels, crowded rooms, or confined spaces can trigger overwhelming fear. Your body prepares for escape before your conscious mind even understands why. The brain values escape routes constantly, and when escape disappears, panic begins. Fear of silence. Most people think they want peace and quiet, until they actually get it. Silence removes distraction. Without constant stimulation, the brain becomes louder. Thoughts become clearer. Emotions surface. For many people, silence feels uncomfortable because it forces confrontation with themselves. That's why modern life is filled with endless noise. Music, notifications, videos, podcasts. Distraction protects people from introspection. Sometimes humans fear their own minds more than the outside world. Fear of missing out. FOMO is deeply tied to tribal psychology. Humans evolved to monitor social opportunities constantly because missing important events could reduce survival chances, mating opportunities, or social positioning. Social media weaponizes this instinct perfectly. Every photo, success story, vacation, or achievement activates comparison systems inside the brain. Your nervous system interprets exclusion as danger even when logically nothing is happening. That's why people compulsively check notifications. The brain fears being left behind. Fear of intimacy. Humans crave connection while simultaneously fearing vulnerability. Real intimacy exposes weaknesses, emotions, insecurities, and needs. That exposure creates psychological risk. Rejection after vulnerability hurts more deeply because it threatens identity itself. So many people build emotional walls. They want connection, but only if it feels safe. The problem is that genuine connection is never completely safe. To be fully known always includes the possibility of being hurt, fear of change. Even miserable situations can feel safer than uncertainty. Your brain prefers predictable pain over unpredictable outcomes because predictability feels controllable. This is why people stay in bad jobs, unhealthy routines, failing relationships, or destructive habits. The familiar becomes psychologically comfortable even when it's damaging. Change forces the brain to enter uncertainty again, and uncertainty activates survival anxiety, fear of pain. Pain exists to protect you. Without pain, humans would destroy their own bodies accidentally. There are rare medical conditions where people cannot feel pain at all. Many don't survive long because injuries go unnoticed. Pain is not punishment, it's communication. But the brain also learns from pain extremely aggressively. Emotional pain, physical pain, humiliation, betrayal. The nervous system stores those experiences to avoid repeating them, sometimes too well. Many adult fears are simply old pain trying not to happen again. Fear of failure in love. Romantic rejection activates some of the deepest survival systems humans have. Pair bonding historically increased, protection, stability, and reproductive success. Losing attachment could threaten survival emotionally and socially. That's why heartbreak feels physically exhausting. Appetite changes, sleep disappears, motivation collapses. The brain processes emotional separation almost like withdrawal. Love isn't just emotional, it's neurological dependency mixed with survival programming. Fear of aging. Humans fear aging because aging represents decline, vulnerability, and eventually death. Modern society intensifies this fear constantly. Youth becomes associated with beauty, relevance, attraction, and value. Aging becomes associated with invisibility and loss, so people fight time obsessively. Cosmetic surgery, filters, anti-aging products, endless attempts to preserve youth. But underneath all of it is the same ancient fear. The body weakening reminds the brain that life is temporary. Fear of being forgotten. Humans desperately want significance. Why? Because meaning softens mortality. People create art, businesses, families, achievements, and legacies, partly because the brain struggles to accept impermanence. Being forgotten feels terrifying because it symbolically resembles disappearing entirely. This is why humans archive memories constantly. Photos, journals, social media posts. The brain wants proof that it existed. Fear of chaos. Humans crave order because order creates predictability. Chaos means unstable outcomes. And unstable outcomes, fear. Fear is your brain's oldest survival system, a built-in alarm designed to keep you alive long before civilization existed. Every fear you have, no matter how irrational it seems, comes from one purpose: survival. Some fears protect you, others control you, and many were created for dangers that don't even exist anymore. Heights. Fear of heights is one of the most common fears humans have. Even people who love skyscrapers or airplanes still feel something strange when standing near an edge. That's because your brain treats falling as one of the oldest threats to survival. Deep. Inside your nervous system is a constant awareness of gravity. Your balance shifts, your muscles tense, and your heart rate increases because your brain knows one wrong step could mean death. The strange part is that your fear usually activates long before actual danger appears. You can stand safely behind glass and still feel panic rising in your chest. Your brain doesn't care about logic first. It cares about survival first. Darkness. Humans fear darkness because for most of human history, darkness meant vulnerability. At night, early humans couldn't see predators, enemies, or danger approaching. The brain evolved to become hyper-alert when vision disappears. That's why small sounds feel louder in the dark. Your imagination starts creating threats your eyes can't confirm. The darkness itself isn't the fear, it's the uncertainty hiding inside it. That's why children fear dark rooms so intensely. Their brains haven't learned how to separate imagination from reality yet. And honestly, most adults haven't either. Your brain would rather invent danger than miss it. Isolation. Humans are social creatures. Your ancestors survived because they stayed inside tribes. Being abandoned thousands of years ago usually meant starvation, exposure, or death. That's why rejection hurts physically. The same brain regions activated during physical pain also activate during social exclusion. Your nervous system treats loneliness as a survival threat because, historically, it was one. This is why people stay in toxic relationships, fake friendships, or miserable environments far longer than they should. The brain fears isolation more than suffering. Public speaking. One of the strangest modern fears is speaking in front of people. Statistically, many people fear public speaking more than death itself. But the fear isn't really about talking. It's about judgment. Your brain interprets large groups watching you as social evaluation. And deep inside your psychology, social rejection once threatened survival. If the tribe rejected you, your chances of staying alive dropped dramatically. So your body reacts like it's in danger. Sweaty palms, racing heart, shaking voice. Your nervous system still thinks embarrassment could kill you. Failure feels emotional, but underneath it is fear of losing status, resources, and security. In nature, weakness often meant vulnerability. Humans evolved to compare themselves constantly because social hierarchy affected access to food, mates, protection, and survival. Today, failure usually won't kill you, but your brain still reacts as if losing status threatens your future. Existence. That's why people procrastinate, why they avoid risks, why they stay trapped in lives they hate. Sometimes the fear of failure becomes stronger than the desire to live fully. Death. Every fear eventually connects back to this one. Fear of death is the foundation underneath almost all human behavior. Your brain is biologically programmed to avoid extinction at all costs. What's strange is that humans are one of the few species fully aware of their own mortality. Animals fear danger in the moment. Humans fear future death before it even arrives. That's why people obsess over health, legacy, religion, success, or meaning. Much of civilization itself was built as a response to mortality. The human brain cannot fully process non-existence, so it spends its entire life trying to outrun it. The unknown. Humans hate uncertainty. Your brain constantly tries to predict what happens next because prediction increases survival. When outcomes become unclear, anxiety rises automatically. This is why waiting for medical results feels terrifying, why uncertainty in relationships hurts more than rejection itself, why people prefer bad certainty over unpredictable possibility. The unknown forces the brain into a state it was never designed to tolerate comfortably. Control disappears, and without control, the mind starts creating worst-case scenarios to prepare for danger. Snakes and spiders. Many fears are partially learned, but some are surprisingly ancient. Studies show humans detect snake-like shapes faster than harmless objects. Even babies react differently to spider movements. Why? Because throughout evolution, venomous creatures posed major survival threats. Humans who quickly recognized dangerous patterns survived more often and passed those instincts forward. Your fear may feel irrational today, but your nervous system remembers thousands of years your conscious mind never lived. It means survival risk. This is why humans create routines, laws, schedules, governments, religions, and systems. They reduce uncertainty. But reality itself is often chaotic. Accidents happen randomly. Illness appears suddenly. Life changes without warning. The brain hates being reminded how little control it actually has. Fear of the supernatural. Ghosts, demons, and paranormal fears often come from pattern detection systems working overtime. Humans evolved to assume agency behind unexplained events because false positives were safer than false negatives. If early humans heard movement in bushes, assuming danger increased survival even if nothing was there, that instinct never disappeared. The brain still searches for hidden presence in darkness, silence, and uncertainty. Sometimes fear creates meaning where none exists. Fear of yourself. This may be the deepest fear humans experience. Not fear of monsters, not fear of death. Fear of what you're capable of becoming. Humans know they can lie, betray, destroy, manipulate, and hurt others under certain conditions. History proves it constantly. People like believing they're good. But deep down, most understand morality is more fragile than it seems. That's why humans fear anger, obsession, addiction, jealousy, and loss of control. Because somewhere underneath civilization is the awareness that the human mind can become dangerous surprisingly quickly. Fear keeps humans alive, but it also shapes identity, society, relationships, ambition, and behavior. Most people think fear is weakness. Actually, fear is one of the oldest forms of intelligence your brain possesses. The problem is that your brain evolved for survival, not happiness.